There are still a lot of questions over how communities hit by winter storms can recover. But funding passed last minute in Augusta this week means tens of millions of dollars in disaster relief will soon be available. Good evening and thanks for joining us here on News Center Maine at 5:30. I'm Zach Blanchard. Chris Costa is off tonight. David Guilford spoke with commissioners in charge of distributing that money and Mainers who say they're still cautious after not finding relief elsewhere.
Just before Thursday's sunrise, the legislature passed a supplemental budget, including some $60 million in storm disaster relief funds for both coastal and inland counties.
What does strengthening the economy going forward look like? How do we build and support resilience?
Commissioner Heather Johnson's Economic and Community Development Department will handle $10 million for small businesses and nonprofits.
And the devastation is at a really critical level for Maine's working waterfront. And the goal here is to get this money on the ground as quickly as we can.
Commissioner Patrick Kelleher with the Department of Marine Resources will help the DOT with the other $50 million for infrastructure.
You have Petite Manan Island, which you can't see right now. It has Maine's second tallest lighthouse, which is where we will be taking people all year to see the puffin colony.
No one is yet sure in which category Tricia Brown fits. She and her husband built their Steuben Wharf in 2022, from which they commercially fish and run puffin tours.
And then January 10th came.
The January storm obliterated her new wharf. FEMA personnel came door to door, and Brown said they were kind and helpful. But then the website denied her because her wharf wasn't part of her home. A FEMA spokesperson confirmed with us the law only allows them to process home damage and personal belongings. Instead, a small business association disaster loan might help. Brown said she's been in limbo there for weeks after rebuilding the wharf themselves in time for May's start to puffin season.
We've spent about $35,000 to $40,000 out of pocket.
She said that's cheap compared to some of her neighbors' bills, and she hopes this new state funding might reach them all, worrying they'll be competing with the whole coast. Kelleher said the cost of building back stronger is still unknown and will take multiple years.
As we go through and start to see this, we'll have a better understanding of whether it is enough.
They plan to take applications in May, dispersing funds mid-July. David Guilford, News Center, Maine.
If you're looking for help filing for assistance related to damage from the 2 January storms, FEMA announced new times for its disaster recovery centers. There are recovery centers in York, Hancock, Cumberland, and Washington counties. They will now be open Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The centers will be closed on Sundays. The disaster recovery centers can help people impacted by the storms apply for federal assistance, update applications, and learn about those available resources.